Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I've always believed that honesty breaks quietly long before a relationship does. It doesn't shatter. It softens, thins out, and folds around excuses. Maybe that's why, when Marley told me she'd be spending Saturday evening with her sister Tessa, something in her tone felt too polished, like a sentence rehearsed in the car mirror before stepping inside. I didn't challenge her. I didn't question the slight pause, the subtle upward tilt of her voice, or the way she avoided my eyes as she grabbed her purse. I just nodded. Have fun, I said, because I've always given trust first, even when it came back in pieces. The moment the door shut, though, silence pressed into the apartment in a way that didn't feel normal. Not heavy, not lonely, just wrong. A kind of wrong that sits in your chest like a stone. So instead of distracting myself with a movie or a book, I did something simple, something almost boring. I went to the kitchen. It wasn't even suspicion. I just needed water, needed movement, needed something. But when I reached the counter, my phone buzzed. A message from Finch, my closest friend since college. A blunt, unfiltered type of guy. The kind of friend who either saves you or ruins your night with one sentence. His text said, "Dude, why is Marley at Broadwell?" I stared at the screen. I didn't move, didn't even breathe, because Broadwell wasn't a family place. It wasn't a restaurant or a bar or some random cafe. It was a boutique hotel downtown. The kind where people booked rooms under reasons they didn't want to explain later. I typed back, "You sure?" Finch replied instantly, "I'm literally in the parking lot. I saw her get out of a black rideshare. Trust me." My throat tightened. Not with anger. Not yet. Just with the kind of clarity you don't want but can't unsee once it arrives. I didn't text Marley. Didn't call her. Didn't explode or accuse or chase. Instead, I leaned against the counter and let the kitchen clock tick loud enough to feel like it was mocking me. Each second stretched, pulled, thinned out. I felt detached, almost weightless, as if my body hadn't caught up to my mind's realization. She had lied. Simple, clean, undeniable, and somehow that hurt more than anything she might have been doing at Broadwell. 20 minutes passed. Exactly 20. I know because I kept glancing at the stove clock without meaning to. The silence stayed sharp around me, like the air before a storm. Then the front door unlocked. Not eased open, no slow creak or careful steps. She walked in quickly, almost urgently, like someone trying to return to a lie before it collapsed under its own weight. Marley stepped into the kitchen, froze when she saw me standing there, and blinked like she hadn't expected me to still be awake. She smelled faintly of a perfume I didn't recognize. Warmer, heavier, sweeter than her usual one. Something you don't wear to hang out with your sister. "Hey," she said, too casually. "You're still up." I stared at her, not with suspicion, but with a quiet disappointment that made her shift her weight from one foot to the other. She placed her purse on the table carefully, avoiding eye contact, avoiding truth. "How's Tessa?" I asked. There it was, the flinch. Small, quick, a fraction of a second, but unmistakable. She recovered almost immediately. "She's good," Marley said. "We just talked and—" "Where?" I interrupted. She hesitated. Not long, but long enough to answer me without saying anything. My heart didn't drop. It settled. Because the worst part wasn't even the lie. It was realizing she had decided I wasn't worth the truth. She let out a soft laugh, the nervous kind. "Why are you acting weird? I told you I was at Tessa's." I nodded slowly. "And she lives? Where again?" The smallest crack appeared in her expression. "Alden, what is this? Why are you interrogating me?" "Because," I said gently, even kindly, "you're wearing lipstick you didn't leave the house with." Her hand shot to her mouth instinctively, then dropped. She swallowed, hard. And in that moment, 20 minutes after her lie, right there in our kitchen, Marley knew I knew. Marley's eyes darted to the counter, then to the floor, then back at me, searching for any hint of anger, any weapon to defend her lie. There was none. Just quiet. Just clarity. And clarity is worse than rage in its own way, It cuts deeper, leaves no room for excuses. Alden, she started then stopped. Her voice faltered, caught somewhere between a sigh and a tremor. I didn't speak. I waited. Sometimes silence is a stronger sentence than any words could be. She finally exhaled, long and shaky. Okay, I wasn't with Tessa. The admission came out almost like a whisper, like saying it louder might undo the truth. I went to meet someone. Just someone. She looked up, eyes glimmering with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Fear. Not of me, but of herself. Of being caught. I stayed still quiet. My mind ran through every detail of our relationship. Every small trust she'd eroded. Every unspoken lie. Every moment I had brushed off a suspicion because I wanted to believe in us. And here it was unmasked, plain as day. The kitchen smelled faintly of her perfume and of the night's tension. Pressed in on both of us. And yet I didn't move. Didn't step forward. Didn't scream. Didn't beg. You lied to me, I said finally. Calm, not venomous. Just flat, factual. No judgment. No accusation. Just reality. I didn't know what else to do, she whispered. Her voice cracked. She looked smaller than I had ever seen her. Tiny, vulnerable, human. But the vulnerability didn't excuse the choice. It only made it more real, more undeniable. I took a step closer, not because I wanted to scare her or punish her, but because the truth had opened a space I needed to fill. I had to close the gap between betrayal and understanding, not with words, but with presence. You could have told me, I said, even if it was hard, even if it scared you, you could have been honest. Her lips quivered. I didn't want to hurt you, she admitted. A lie, but a soft one. The kind that bends the truth but can't fully escape it. I just didn't know how. I leaned against the counter, my fingers brushing the edge of the marble. The problem, I said quietly, is that you hurt me anyway, not with intention, not with malice, but with choice, with secrecy, with this distance you've built over time. That's the kind of thing that sticks, Marley. That lingers, that reshapes the way someone sees you. Her eyes glistened with tears, but she looked at me, really looked, for the first time that night. I saw regret, not deep remorse, not the kind that fixes things, but enough to know that she understood she had crossed a line. And yet, lines once crossed aren't always reparable. I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. Relief that the truth finally existed in the same room as us. Emptiness because the truth didn't make it easier to forget or forgive. Because trust, once broken, doesn't rebuild overnight. It doesn't arrive on a doorstep with flowers or apologies. It takes time, and even then, it may never return to what it was. I don't know what to say, Marley whispered. I never wanted this to happen. I know, I replied, and I'm not asking you to fix it tonight, or ever. I just need honesty from now on. That's all I need. She nodded slowly, swallowing hard. I can do that, she said. The words were simple, fragile, almost trembling, but they were there. Enough to start, maybe. We didn't hug. We didn't cry together. We didn't pretend everything was normal. We simply stood in the kitchen, under the dim light, two people facing the consequences of choices, both ours and hers. And in that quiet, the tension softened, not gone, not healed, but present in a way that made space for something real. Something neither lies nor excuses could erase. 20 minutes of deception, one lie uncovered, and a lifetime of emotions condensed into a single room. And in that kitchen, I realized something important. Honesty, even when delayed, always changes the landscape. It might not repair what was broken, and it might not erase the hurt, but it gives you a chance to start over, to draw new lines, to see clearly where you stand. Marley didn't reach for my hand. I didn't reach for hers. And yet, in that stillness, there was understanding. There was acknowledgement. There was the subtle, quiet promise that the next step, whatever it was, would be on a foundation of truth, not deception. I turned to the fridge, poured myself a glass of water, and finally felt my chest unclench. The stone had shifted. The air had changed. Marley lingered, unsure, silent, waiting for a reaction that didn't come. I didn't need to react. The story was out. The lie was exposed. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes truth alone is the beginning.